from a long line of hope coochie, right? My grandma had 10 kids, my mama had 3 kids, and my sister had 5 kids, and my niece had a kid. We all had our kids vaginally. We all had our kids without any epidural, without any cesarean. I'm gonna just get to it. My baby's due date was on the 13th. So the doctor was telling me most babies don't come on the actual due date. It's either a little bit before, a little bit after, whatever. So I'm like, okay, but I think he's gonna come like on the day. And she's like, no, that usually don't happen. I'm like, okay, whatever. The night before, my sister was on her vegan type tip, and she had made some pecan tacos. I ate half of the taco, and the next morning, like 2 in the morning, my stomach was bubbling real bad. I kept having to go to the bathroom, and I was like, oh my goodness. Every time I would lay down, I couldn't even lay down for 10 minutes without having a dookie. From 2 in the morning to, I kid you not, 7 in the morning, I'm dookieing and dookie. About 7 o'clock comes and I feel a sharp pain. I'm like, oh my God, that's not Braxton Hicks. Damn sure ain't a period cramp. So I'm like, maybe I'm going into labor. A few hours pass, I feel another cramp. I'm like, okay. And then they just started happening more and more frequently. I'm like, I'm probably in labor. My mom's like, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital, because everybody knows if you go to the hospital too soon, they will send your black ass home. I waited, and my husband was trying to feed me, and he tried to feed me like some catfish and some veggies and shit. I threw it up. Time went past, and I'm starting to have contractions more frequently. If the contractions are coming so frequently, like every 5 minutes, then it's probably a good idea for you to go to the hospital. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna just wait until I feel that, and then I'm gonna head to the hospital. A few hours passed, my husband made me, he's like, you need to eat something. I'm like, I'm not really in the mood to be eating nothing. He made me a smoothie. He was like, well, maybe a smoothie will help, whatever. He made me the most fire smoothie. Like, you would think he worked at like Jamba Juice or something. I drank the smoothie, threw up everywhere. He had to change my clothes, he had to change our sheets, he had to change, he just had to help me. So after that, I was just watching TV, trying to like get through it, but they're coming more and more frequently. At this point, it is 8 o'clock. I already told my sister, if the contractions get too bad, obviously I'm going to the hospital. So I texted her like, hey, my contractions coming about every 5 minutes, because I was timing myself. Every 5 minutes they coming, and they getting stronger to the point where it was like I had to really like breathe. So she comes in my room, and she's like, okay, make sure you got this, you gotta take this, make sure when he drive, you know, you holding on to the thing, because everything gonna be uncomfortable. Let me know what happens when you get there, all of this stuff. I'm like, okay. We get in the car. This man is usually a speed racer. This man was driving so slow. Like, why out of all times, like, this is not the time. So his nerves bad, I'm irritated, I'm in a car like this after every speed bump and shit, like irritated. We finally make it to the hospital. He puts me in a wheelchair, get to the elevator, and we don't know what floor to get on or off on. We don't know what floor to get off on. I'm like, oh my God, this is not my real life. Well, he had to go back down, figure out what floor we supposed to be on. We get to the 4th floor. The lady's like, what's wrong? I said, I'm in labor. Why the fuck else would I be on this floor? She's like, okay, so they put me in a room with this other person. They put me in a room with a lady, and it's like a little blind or whatever sheet, I don't know, curtain covering up the other lady and me. It's the doctor talking to her, it's the doctor talking to me. They're like, what's going on? I say, I'm pretty sure I'm in labor. She's like, okay, well, I'm gonna check you and see how far dilated you are. If you are 3 centimeters and under, we're probably not going to keep you. We're probably going to send you back. I'm like, okay, whatever. She goes up in there, and I was nervous because I'm like, if they tell me I'm only 2 centimeters, I don't think I'm going to be able to push this baby out, because this is kind of crazy right now. She was like, you're 4 centimeters. I was like, okay, cool. She was like, I'm going to keep you. I was like, okay, good. And so they continue to ask me questions about how I want my birthing plan. Now listen to this part, because this is very important. They should have been asking me this shit, and they should have been giving me a hospital tour. So they dropped the ball on that. But this part is important because they asked me, did I have any specifications about how I wanted my room and how I wanted to give birth and all of that stuff. I said, listen, I don't want an epidural. I do not want a cesarean. And I want to be able to push him out the way that I want to be able to push him out, in the position that I want to push him out in. So they're like, okay, she just typing away and shit. After that, they moved me into another room. My contractions are getting worse, but I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna walk it out. Like what Unc say, West Side, walk it down. So I'm like, I'm gonna just walk it out, walk it off. So we get in, and oh, I did ask for morphine. So this was not unmedicated. I have morphine. They was like, we can't give you morphine under over 6 centimeters. So, you know, you got to get it between now and 6 centimeters. And I was like, okay. But I wanted to walk my baby down some more. I get in the room. I'm in the room for probably 5 minutes. And my contractions are getting so bad. Like, I'm trying to do, for women know this, when you on your period, like sometimes you sit on the toilet and it make you feel better. I tried to sit on the toilet to make myself feel better. I tried to walk around to make myself feel better. I tried to sit down, lay down. Nothing was making me feel better. So I told my husband, I said, call them. I need the dope. So the lady gets in there and I'm on the chair. I'm on the chair like this, like having a contraction or whatever. The bitch go tell me, she gonna tell me, come here so I can give you your morphine. Obviously, if I could come here, I'd sprint to you right now. I'm in the middle of a contraction. So give me a fucking second and let me breathe it out. Done with that contraction, make it over to the bed. She gives me the morphine. I'm pushing. My sister had already told me before I got to the hospital, she was like, whenever you have a contraction, push. I'm sitting there pushing, and I have been doing it the whole time, but now it's getting to the point where it's not like voluntary anymore. It's like I can't help it. Like I'm pushing. And so she's like, don't. First of all, she told me to shut up before that even happened. She was like, you're making a lot of noise and you're not having an epidural, so you need to focus on your breathing instead of making this noise. I said, what? I'ma moan how I see fit. The fuck? Who the fuck she? And she lucky that's all I said. But I'm still a smart cookie, bitch. You not finna put nothing in my IV and kill me and my baby. So I kept it PG, but I was ready to go rated R. Anyways, after that, I'm pushing and she's like, you have to stop pushing because you're gonna mess up your cervix. You're only 4 centimeters. And I was like, I can't help it. So she's like, okay, well, let me check you. She stick her whole life in my coochie and she's like, oh my God, you're 10 centimeters. Okay. I knew I wasn't fucking pushing for no fucking reason. So she, like, after that, a flood of nurses come in, probably like 4-5 nurses come in, and the doctor's like, hi, my name is, and I'm like, I already met you, my nigga. Get the baby out me. So they're like, so I had to argue with them for 5 minutes because they're like, we want you to put your feet on these stirrups. I already told y'all I did not want to have my baby laying on my back. I wanted to have my baby how I wanted to have my baby. So I was ready to get like in the on all fours or get in the squatting position because originally that's how people was having babies anyway. That's like the natural way to have a baby. Me and them arguing back and forth for 5 fucking minutes because they want me to put my feet on these stirrups and I'm trying to figure out why when I just told y'all what I just told y'all. I just got frustrated and I was like, okay, whatever. So I put my legs on the fucking stirrups and I start pushing on my next contraction. This bitch in my ear talking about 1, 2, 3. So I'm like, oh God. So I'm like pushing past the 10 mark. I'm like pushing for my life here. Because this is annoying. Get the baby out me. She's like, oh, after I was pushing past 10, she's like, I'm like, so the head ain't out or nothing. And like, the next time I push, I feel like somebody lit a match on my coochie. Like, it's called the Ring of Fire. Somebody lit a match on my fucking coochie. It was like, ding, like that Lil Wayne, when he dropped a mixtape and he's sparking up, it was like, it felt like that, but like on my coochie. I'm pushing him and then I feel a tear. A lot of people tear from the booty hole up. Or people tear, I don't know if most people do it, but a lot of people, all the stories that I be hearing about coochie tearing, it tears from it tear to the booty. And mine didn't tear like that. It tore up. So it tore towards the pee hole. So anyways, I feel it like ripping and I'm like, oh my God, it ripped. So I might as well just keep pushing him. So my next contraction, I push again. And then I just hear my husband say, oh my God, he got a lot of hair. And I'm like, I thought he was gonna pass out. He did good. He didn't pass out. So after that, I'm like, okay, if I do one more push, like he gonna be out of there. Did one more push, buddy slid right out of there. Next thing I know, I hear, "Oh my God, your blood pressure's too high, 87 over something." And then I found out I had preeclampsia, and they had to stick a catheter in me, sew my coochie back up, and I still had to pass my placenta. So it was just like a lot going on down there. And then they had me on magnesium for a day to see how my blood pressure was gonna do, if it was gonna regulate. So it didn't. Like, they took me off the magnesium, and then after that I stayed in the hospital for 5 days because my blood pressure wouldn't regulate, and they had to make sure I wasn't finna like die. That was my labor and delivery story. That's how I found out I had Hulk coochie. Yeah, I have the most cutest baby boy in the whole world. Thank y'all for watching. I'm still alive. I'm still